How is a country's culture known? Often, it's through the people, the food, the clothes, the celebration of festivals, the rituals, etc. However, the very first glimpse through which a country's culture reflects is through its architecture. Architecture is a great composite of the two pillars of human evolution, the pillars called art and science. Architecture is a product of the culture that it was designed for. In ancient times, a country's architecture was dependent on its available resources and its geo-economic conditions. It is due to this need the architects were driven towards mathematics and designing. Today, modern architecture has almost conquered the entire world. However, some countries have managed to preserve their culture through their ancient designs. Let's see how the architecture of these countries reflect their culture. Countries whose architecture reflect their identities. Greece. The ancient Greek civilization that flourished around 500 BC. It has also relied on the understanding of the scientific and mathematical concepts. All the public spaces and temples are a physical application of geometry, perspective, and proportion. There is a formal vocabulary of ancient Greek architecture. The division of architectural styles is divided into three orders: the Doric order, the Ionic order, and the Corinthian order. The Doric is most easily recognized by the simple circular capitals at the top of the columns. It is originated in the Western Doric region of Greece. The Ionic columns normally stand on a base. It separates the shaft of the column platform, while the cap is usually enriched with egg and dart. It is narrower than the Doric order. The Corinthian order is a more advanced version of the Ionic order. It is integrated structure of capitals and columns. It formed the foundation for modern architecture. Even today, Greece is filled with these remaining classic orders and are tourist spots. Brazil. The architecture of Brazil is influenced by Europe, especially Portugal. It has a history that goes back 500 years to the time when Pedro Cabral discovered Brazil in 1500. The diversity in Brazilian architecture is observed in its religious sites and military forts. In Salvador, Bahia, the 18th century Barroco Mineiro and the Baroque style of churches, mansions, and townhouses in the state of Minas Gerais are relevant even today. Then, in the 20th century, especially in Brasilia, Brazil experimented with modernist architecture. The modernist approach was named as minimalism without the need for excessive frills or decoration. The minimalistic approach to designs are in use till date. Turkey. Turkish architecture has been influenced by the different eras it experienced as a country. Turkish architecture was influenced by Seljuk and Ottoman architecture in the 1920s. This marked the first national architectural movement. It was also known as the Turkish neoclassical architecture movement. Notable buildings from this era are the Istanbul Main Post Office, Tayyare Apartments, and Istanbul Fort Vakif Khan. The second movement started after the end of the Second World War. It was also known as the stripped classicism. It aimed to construct modern versions of Roman and Holy Roman architecture. The Ankara Opera House and the Istanbul University are great products of this movement. These countries have preserved their culture through their architecture. Through this, they have inspired us to reflect our culture in our creative thinking too.